I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with Southern stories of the macabre, creepy, and strange.
And I drink.
What are you drinking tonight, Mitchell?
Our beer tonight is Tocobaga, I believe it's how it's pronounced. Red India Pale Ale. It's brewed and canned by Cigar City Brewing, LLC, in Tampa, Florida. It's 7.2% alcohol by volume. Let's read the can. Brimming with Citra hops, our red IPA tempers its bitterness with rich malt flavors reminiscent of caramel and bread crust. Notes of blueberry and pine round out this assertive yet balanced ale. What I have to say about it is I get no caramel or blueberry. It's just a bitter IPA.
What about the pine?
I mean, every IPA has a little bit of pine in it. It's bitter with a little bit of like tang on the back.
I've never licked a pine. I don't know what pine tastes like.
Yes, but you love tang from the back. Anyway,
Gross.
this is fine, but it definitely could have done more. It's not very good. It's just bitter. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I was really hoping for, just a combination of red beers and IPAs, but that's definitely not what this is. It's just IPA.
You are the most generous scorer that I have ever, it wasn't very good. I'll give it a 7.
I mean, it's drinkable, though. I'm not going to be an asshole.
I mean, I get it, but, your scale is incredibly generous. If I taste, slightly bleh, it's a
Yeah, but this isn't bad.
Nope.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't get slightly bleh. I got not what I wanted.
I
So,
suppose.
fuck you. You get a 7. I mean, I am a generous scorer, I guess. But, anyway, you still haven't tried this one, right?
No, I have not.
Would you like to?
I would not.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Neither of those things sound like a good idea to me. Just,
Yeah. Our shot in the dark for the night is a very fun one, and oh man, we've got a story for you. This is Chipper Jones Sweet Tea Moonshine, produced and bottled by Sugarlands Distilling Company, LLC in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's 20% alcohol by volume. Let's read the bottle, and it's going to be a while, so it's a long one. Here we go. Chipper Jones is one of baseball's all-time great players. His love of the game has led him to be an 8-time All-Star and Hall of Fame inductee. These days, I'm stumbling. These days, Jones is an avid outdoorsman who enjoys being a husband, father, baseball advisor, game analyst, and co-host of his television show about the world of bow hunting. Now, Chipper has joined the Sugarlands team to celebrate another great pastime, Sweet Tea Moonshine. Just take a second real quick. Since when is that a great pastime? Back to it. Go ahead.
You said game analyst, and I thought you said gay analyst, and I was like,
game
I
analyst.
didn't know he was gay. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway.
This is hard.
It would be great if he was. Let's go back to the quote real quick. We're almost done. This flavor is sure to be a heavy hitter, so crack open this jar and let's play ball. Sips up. All right, what I have to say about it is this is actually an excellent product. I really enjoy it a lot. It's smooth and easy sipping leads to dangerous times on this thing because, goddamn, it's good. It's only 20%. I will say this. Do not drink this and tweet, and you will hear about that momentarily. This gets a 10 out of 10 on ice. We made an Arnold Palmer slushie with this, so it's half moonshine and half lemonade just made into a frozen drink, and goddamn, it's good. 10 out of 10. So 10 out of 10 overall. And that'll be it for the alcohols, Leah, but we're not quite done. Now, are we?
Can I just also say, if you don't like sweet tea, you're not going to like that shit because it tastes like sweet tea. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but I don't like sweet tea. So take that as you may. If you like sweet tea, you're going to love this because it tastes like sweet tea. If you hate it, once again, don't drink that because it tastes like sweet tea.
That's fair to say. I can get behind that. So... I love it because I like sweet tea.
And I do not, because I do not.
All right, well, let's take a second before we get into the rest of the episode because I have to tell a story about this. We just thought it was perfect to tell now. Leah knows this story, so forgive her if she doesn't react to it at all. But I have a personal connection with this product, and we're going to talk about it real quick. As you just heard, people generally revere Chipper Jones. And by all accounts, he's, a nice person, a decent person, a great baseball guy. He's worked a lot for the Braves.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my grandparents I've said this before, used to run their local, senior citizens group. And they would take trips to the stadium, to the Braves Stadium to see games.
Yeah.
And those old ladies specifically brought binoculars to look at Chipper Jones's ass.
Yeah.
Like, that was a thing. They all had Chipper jerseys. It was a big deal.
Beside the point, from all accounts, he's, a generally nice person. But if anyone was a Braves fan coming up through like the mid-90s through the early 2000s, you'll know that Chipper also had some personal issues. Nothing really serious or like media worthy, but Braves fans know about Chipper's personal life to a certain extent. And on one particular night, many years ago, it was either 2012 or 2013, I'm not sure, but I was up around midnight playing Xbox with some friends online. We were talking and chatting and drinking a little bit. I was not drunk. I want to say that right now. I had had like 4 or 5 beers. I was maybe tipsy. Anyway, we took a break from playing. I went to the bathroom and I just happened to check Twitter and I saw that Chipper Jones tweeted something. I was following him. So let me get to that. Yeah. Also, quick shout out. My friend Gordon keeps this and you'll understand why momentarily that I don't have it. So anyway, Gordon sent me the screenshot. Chipper tweeted, again, this was like 8-9 years ago. Just had pizza with my 3 boys and celebrating a Falcons win. Thanking God for the people in my life and for the people I chose to shit can. With some exclamation points there. Obviously, that's Atlanta Falcons. Chipper's a big sports fan around the clock. Anyway, that kind of feels like he's tweeting that at someone in particular, right? Like he's got someone in mind. Fuck you. This is for you.
What's a shit can?
Like fire or get rid of. You're not in my life anymore. You never heard that? People I chose to shit can?
Nope.
Well, anyway.
But you shouldn't have said it that way because now I can't use it as a Southern saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Damn it.
Well, I saw that, and like I said, I was a little tipsy. And without a second thought, I immediately forgot that I did this, but I tweeted this. And without a second thought, I just said, I'm guessing the 2 women he cheated on and then divorced. That's what Mitch did. As a young, cocky 25-year-old or so man, I was like, this is going to be funny. It wasn't for anyone. It was just for me, right? So we played like one more game on Xbox, and I went to bed. And like I said, I didn't even think about this. And I woke up the next day, and it was like an hour after I woke up, I was like, oh, let me look at Twitter real quick. I 100% forgot that I tweeted that. 100%. Again, I was not drunk. I forgot that I did that. And I had a bunch of Twitter notifications, okay? Like, a lot. And Chipper tweeted back to me. Chipper Jones said, that wasn't who I was referring to, and you don't have your facts straight. But then again, losers rarely do. And then he, we'll get there. I had other responses from Chipper's White Knights that came around. My picture, does anyone remember when smartphones first became a thing? And there was that fat face filter.
It was like a fisheye lens, so it made everything look real.
Right. That's poofy. My Twitter picture still on my personal Twitter account. That's still my Twitter picture of one of those where like my face is giant, right? So I had a lot of, God, this guy's got diabetes, or this fat fuck doesn't know what he's talking about, and what's he doing talking to Chipper that way, that kind of shit. I had a lot of that. All right.
Because this fat fuck hasn't cheated on his wife.
Right. Well, I wasn't married at the time, so it was fine. But anyway, that is how Mitch Lawrence got blocked on Twitter by a Southeastern icon. I remain blocked to this day. I was going to look on my Twitter to see, like, can I look this stuff up? So again, Gordon had to send me this screenshot, my friend Gordon, because I'm still blocked from Chipper's Twitter account. I can search him on Twitter and it says, you are blocked from seeing anything at RealCJ10 tweets. You can't, it just says you are blocked. I cannot see anything from Chipper Jones on my personal account. So, anyway, don't drink this stuff and tweet because you'll piss off. Like, I don't have heroes. Like, he wasn't a hero. He was, he's iconic though. People in the Southeast know this person. And Gordon, the reason he keeps this screenshot, I said, hey, do you have that anymore? And he said, he sent it right to me within 3 minutes. He said, bitch, this is in my favorites. Like, he keeps this thing and looks at it occasionally. Because what he envisions is, of course, he was on a phone, but he envisions Chipper sitting at a computer like a keyboard and just pounding the keyboard like losers rarely do. He thought it was the funniest fucking thing that I pissed off Chipper Jones. And, I mean, I'm not proud of it.
You are very proud of it.
I'm not proud of it,
Look,
but I'm also not upset about it, you know?
Anyway, so, you know.
There's that story. If any of you tangentially know Chipper Jones, just tell him to listen to this episode and know that I've grown up, Chipper. I still think you're a philanderous asshole, but I've grown up.
Oh, bless it.
I'm sorry, everyone. That's everything that I have to say, Leah. So you may continue.
Well, are you ready to go into a sassy Southern saying?
Yeah, I sure am.
Do you want to just use yours and use this one for next time?
The people I chose to shit can.
I still don't understand that, but all right.
Oh, Leah.
Oh, okay. So this week we're going to be saying the phrase, ugly is homemade sin.
Oh, God. I've never heard that, I don't think.
You've never heard that?
I've heard ugly is sin, but not homemade sin.
Homemade sin. It's one that my grandmother said a lot, and just old ladies in particular, especially when they're gossiping about someone or something that someone did. Or my grandma was really bad about saying it about, like, things that other people had made that weren't made well.
That's terrible.
That is ugly as homemade sin. And I didn't understand it, and I thought it was literally like homemade sin, like they were stirring up a batch of sin, and I didn't understand.
Like in a cauldron?
Well, honestly, at the time, when I was a child in the 90s, late 90s, thank you very much.
Oh, hello.
No, I was there for the whole 90s. I should stop lying. But, so those sweaters with like you would cut out pieces of like decorative fabric and then you would put glitter glue around them. Do you remember those sweaters?
No, but I'm sure that I've seen them.
Okay, well, they're just these big, awful sweaters.
Like Dolly's coat of many colors?
No, not like that. They would take like printed decorative fabrics from the fabric store and they would fuse it on, like there's this adhesive that you can iron onto it, and they would iron like fall leaves or teddy bears or whatever, and then they would go around the edge of it and seal it with like glitter glue and tulip paint. It was a big deal in the 90s. Thank you very much. I had so many goddamn ugly Christmas sweaters that my mother made that way. Oh, they were bad, and the pictures we matched. It was bad. I still have a tablecloth my grandmother made that way that I think is absolutely hilarious, and I keep it just because I think it's funny. But where was I going with that? Oh, homemade sin. I honestly thought that's what homemade sin was. I thought that it was someone glue gunning or, just a bunch of bullshit fabric together, and that's what homemade sin was. Turns out, when I looked it up, it's actually talking about sex. Homemade sin is fucking.
Really? Oh, that makes sense. That's not ugly at all. Eula.
No, but ugly in the South doesn't have to mean actually physically like unappealing, unattractive. Ugly can also just mean it's bad or it's wrong or it's, sinful. So ugly as homemade sin means like it's real bad, you know? So,
well,
there you go. So
does homemade sin mean, because in Christian ideology, all humans are born sinful. Like you are sinning immediately. So does that mean I have just made homemade sin when I make a baby? Is that why it means fucking?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure. I'm
pretty sure it's just like the sin that you get up to when you ain't got nothing else to do. It's homemade. I don't know. I don't get it either, but I think it's fun to say. So if anybody else wants to use that in a phrase this week or a sentence, mix that into your everyday conversation, y'all. Yeah. Oh, Lord, that's ugly as homemade sin,
That's ugly as two people fucking. That's all you got to say. Doesn't matter if they're married. They shouldn't be getting up to it.
Exactly.
Right? Speaking of, we've been watching Bridgerton. Y'all.
Whoo, he's cute.
If you're not from the South, beside the point, goddamn.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying, if you're not from the South, You'd be surprised how many people hold those exact beliefs that are being portrayed in Bridgerton.
Oh, yeah. It's uncomfortable. But anyway.
Yeah, the main guy character this season.
Oh, my God. He's hot.
He's got a lot going for him.
In the very first episode, it's like a bunch of, dresses and stuff. And anyway, then you see him riding on a horse in a black shirt and a cloak.
I said to Leah, is that the Old Spice Man?
I think, seriously, at the same time, me and Mitch both went, ooh. Like that was a literal, both of us audibly said, look at that. He is incredibly handsome.
The thing is, I'm not the type of straight cis person who gets like upset at being said, oh, that's gay, or you're gay for saying that or something. But like, I'm not attracted to men at all. But I saw this guy and I was like, huh.
He is sexy as hell.
I was like, there was no sexual attraction of any kind, but I was like, I get it.
I mean, I definitely get it, but anyway.
And then you see his chest. By the way, his chest and stomach look way better than his ass, first of all.
I mean, but they show his ass more frequently.
Yeah, he doesn't have a good ass.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's subpar at best.
Fine. He has 10 out of 10 on everything else. He can do okay with a 9 out of 10 ass.
It's not 9 out of 10, Leah. That is a subpar ass. That does not mean 9 out of 10.
Well, that's a subpar beer, but you still gave it a 7.
Yeah, okay. He's got a 7 out of 10 ass.
I disagree. Mm-mm. You could bounce a quarter off that thing, and it would bounce right back into your hand.
No. His ass is...
That's high and tight right there.
His ass doesn't have a lot going for it. The abs and the pecs, though, I understand.
Agreed.
I get it.
All right, well, that's enough about Bridgerton.
Yeah. We should do a midweek mini on it.
Just about me sitting there for like 12 hours just staring at the screen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's the only thing that has held Leah's attention for a very long time.
Y'all, that's straight up lady porn. It is. I love costumes, and that's really well done, barring a couple of historically inaccurate mistakes. But I get it. I understand. It's like surrealist history period piece. Like, I get it. It's beautiful. The main man is incredibly handsome. It's well cast. It's fun. It's lady porn, and I'm not ashamed of it. So
I just realized when I said holding Leah's attention, I just realized that we should probably explain that you have been sick for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't have an episode last week, and why you haven't done videos in a couple of weeks,
too. So I haven't been sick, but I have had...
it's sick.
I've had I have actually been sick a little, but...
Yeah.
I actually had some oral surgery done, and I was like high off my tits on some medication, and that was a bad choice. I don't want to talk while I'm on narcotics, so
I want you to.
Fun, but that gets finished up on Monday, so we should be good to go with that from here on out.
I hope so.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, so are you ready to go ahead and start the very first story of the evening?
I am. Would you just like me to tell my Chipper Jones thing again?
I do not.
You've heard it a bunch, though.
I have.
Because anytime
that's like one of the first stories you ever told me was, remember that time that I pissed Chipper Jones off?
Anytime that you've been around Gordon, it's his favorite story about me. Okay. Because what happened was, the second I looked at Twitter, I got a text from him and another friend that said, dude, I can't believe you got in a Twitter fight with Chipper Jones. I was like, I didn't. I said something, and I forgot that I said it.
This isn't a feud. He immediately blocked you. Pussy. Anyway, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, all right. So we are going to Choco Loco, Alabama, and we are going to be talking about the Choco Loco monster.
Is it pronounced Chocolaka? Boom Chocolaka.
It's not. Now look, some people might call it Chocolaka.
Yeah.
But from the pronunciation guides that I found online, Choco Loco is the most correct way to say it. But okay. I might say Chocolaka. I don't know. It's fun to say Chocolaka. Maybe I'll just say Chocolaka.
I'm just saying.
Anyway. Choco Loco is how it spells. CHOCCOLOCCO.
Sounds like Chocolaka to me.
Chocolaka. All right, we'll just go with that. But anyway, it is an unincorporated town in Alabama, and they done had themselves a monster, and I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
It's in Calhoun County near Anniston, if anybody knows where that is. I've been nearby it, but I don't think I've ever been through it. But anyway, so we are talking about sort of the early summer, late spring sort of era.
Did you say near Anniston?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that I've heard this before. I used to date a girl from Anniston, and they say Chocolaka.
Chocolaka? Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess the lady on YouTube was wrong.
Well, yeah. Where's she from?
From Chocolaco. Chocolaka?
Doubt it.
I don't know. She sounded Southern, but I don't give a shit. Anyway, like I said, I ain't never been there. I've been to Anniston, but this is in the middle of bum-fucking nowhere. So, let's continue. Yeah. It's, late spring, early summer of 19... let me try this again.
Okay.
Look, I've had like a couple daiquiris, and I'm a little tipsy. Fuck off. Anyway, so it's in 1969. So this all came from an Anniston Star article that came out in 2001, and you'll understand why later. But, all of the sources from the Anniston Star by a reporter named Matthew Creamer.
Oh.
Great last name. Anyway. Yeah. So this stuff started happening in the middle of May in 1969. People started reporting seeing some kind of weird ass thing off the side of the road on Iron City Cutoff Road. Sort of on the corner. There's another road called Chocolaka Road. Anyway.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I've been down that road.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure. Anyway, on that sort of corner area, that intersection of those two streets, people started seeing this fucking weird thing. And they didn't really know what it was. But there was a lady, the first recorded report that she actually went and told someone. She was a woman that worked at the Claiborne County Hospital, and she was driving home pretty late one night on that cutoff road, and her name was Margaret Teague, and she saw something horrendous, and she was very startled and upset and uncomfortable, and she told the police what happened. So shot in the dark.
Oh, we're going for it.
We're going for it. What did she say that she saw? Was it A, a demon? Was it B, a booger? Or was it C, a monstrosity?
What the fuck is a booger? I'm going to say a booger. That sounds funny.
It was, in fact, a booger.
Hey.
She said she done seen herself a booger.
I seen a booger.
It was this. Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, come get this. Oh, I spilled a little bit.
Ow.
Yeah, take your headphones off. You got it. I did spill some, so be careful.
I'm tethered. I'm sorry.
Tethered?
With the headphones.
You got it. I believe in you. How was it?
Tastes like tea.
Well, yeah, but you like tea. You like unsweet tea.
Oh, but it tastes like sweet tea. I don't like that.
Yeah, I like it. It's very nice.
Ugh. Oh, I can taste a teaspoon of sugar in a gallon of tea, and that's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful. Anyway.
I like it a lot.
I'm glad you like it, but it's not for me.
It's so good.
But yeah, so Miss Teague sees this booger on the road, and the quote in the article from her was, she said it was standing on its hind legs. It was covered in hair. It was real big, and the quote from her in the paper from the time was, "Oh lordy, lordy, what a head!"
What?
Like it had a fucking weird head. She didn't know what it was. And I'm going to continue with the quote. I turned the car around in the middle of the road to get another look, and it got caught in the ditch. I just know the booger had me for sure. The car got stuck in the ditch, not the booger, just for clarification.
What does she take to mean a booger?
So it's more of a Central Alabama saying from what I've gathered on the interwebs, but booger just means like a monster. A lot of the times a booger in Alabama, it means Bigfoot.
Oh, okay.
That's just a thing.
Just never heard it.
Kind of like a boogeyman. My grandmother always talked about, about that phrase as more of a boogeyman kind of thing. A booger's gonna get you, that kind of thing. My grandfather's bad about saying that one too, but but further south you get, the more often it's referencing something like a Bigfoot than it is up here. But anyway, so she was like, she had accidentally got her car stuck in a ditch because she had turned around to look at it, and she thought that the booger was going to get her, but the booger didn't get her. So she's fine.
Good for her.
She ended up getting her car out, and the monster ran off, and she reported it. So another instance of someone seeing this Chocolaka monster. There was a man that was driving down that Chocolaka Road in May, still at the end of May. So this is, I think, the second sighting that's on record.
Okay.
And a man said that he saw a varmint, that it was kind of a humpbacked combination of a bear and a panther.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
And then the next night after that humpbacked combination of a bear and panther was sighted, there was a man named Johnny Ray Teague, and he had 3 friends with him in his car, and they were running down the road, just, out joyriding kind of, because what else was there to do, and they accidentally stalled out the engine. So all 4 of them got out and opened the hood, and they were, trying to fiddle with stuff until they could get it started again, trying to see what was wrong with their engine. Well, all of a sudden, out of the brush nearby, they see this thing come out of the underbrush, and they said it was, quote, the size of a cow, gray to black in color, humped similarly to a camel, and it had a huge head and big old teeth. So it freaked them the fuck out, and they were like, oh shit, what the hell is this thing? And it scared them, and so they got back in their car, and the monster proceeded to dance around the car in circles for a little bit, and then ran off into the trees. So they finally got the car started again, and
you similarly to a camel.
They got their car started again, and they ran off. Now, Mr. Teague said that he finally got that car to start, and they run off. And about half a mile from where they first saw that first monster, they said that they saw 3 or 4 more of these monsters, and they were even bigger than that first monster, and they were scared to shit. So they ran home as quickly as they possibly could. Mm-hmm. So it went May, into June, and people from all over started hearing the stories of this Chocolaka monster, and so they start coming into town, backwoods econs with the guns and the rifles and the trying to find themselves a Chocolaka monster. Mm-hmm. So they had some trouble with these people that were hunting this monster, firing into shadows and suspicious shapes in the dark, and it kind of got dangerous out there, and people were real pissed off because that's a lot of farming land, and there are a lot of cows grazing out there, and most of the farmers were like, look, if you fucking shoot our cows, we're gonna sue your ass, so don't shoot our cows, please.
Don't shoot cows, period, though.
Indeed.
You don't need to be asked to do that.
True. Very
Just
true.
Don't do it.
But, their point was it was getting a little bit more dangerous because there were more people out there with guns looking for this crazy apparition situation. Mm-hmm. So finally, it kind of died down at the end of June, and nobody really ever saw it again. And nobody really thought much of it again. It was just sort of a local oddity, a little ha-ha, joking around. Remember that time when these people saw this thing.
Yeah, remember the booger?
But in October of 2001, a man named Neil Williamson talked to this Anniston Star reporter and was like, hey, you know what's real funny? Back in the day, I was the Chocolaka monster. And so he went on to tell the story of what he was doing. Mm-hmm. So he said that back then you didn't have anything to do. There weren't any computers, and I was bored. So he liked to go out in while his parents fell asleep, he was only 15, by the way, and could not drive, but did.
Yeah.
He basically took his parents' 1950 Ford on just joy rides around because he was bored. What else are you going to do? So he had found an old cow skull just out and about somewhere. You find those sometimes.
I guess. Sure.
I mean, in a cattle area, it's less concerning, especially if people are
shooting cows.
Yeah. But he found this old cow skull and he thought it was cool, so he had put it in the back seat of the car a while back. But he was riding one day and he realized, oh shit, that thing's still back there. I haven't done anything with it. And he's like, I'm just gonna play a prank on some people. So he gets his car parked into like sort of the side wood, sort of covered. He gets this long black coat, like a duster style coat, and he takes the skull and he gets out to the road and he's covered head to toe in this big old coat, and he's got his arm up with this big old cow skull over his head, and he waits for a car to come by. And once the car comes by, he runs out sort of across the street and with this skull and his big old coat, and he's just sort of dancing on the side of the road until the driver notices him, and then he runs back into the trees, freaking people out.
Okay.
And he said sometimes he would also get like a big bed sheet if he could get one out of the house. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he was wearing that black coat. Sometimes it was a white sheet. So different witnesses said it was different colors and, different sizes and shapes depending on what the base garment was that night. Mm-hmm. But he was just having fun putting on a sheet and running around with a cow skull, dancing on the side of the highway, freaking people out.
Not bad, right?
But one night,
good, clean fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
But one night, he had two people with him that he had friends that he was like, hey, I've been doing this monster thing and it's fucking funny. You want to come? And the other guys were like, hell yeah, we want to come. So they had, been, hence the camel humps and stuff. They had been more people under the sheet.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And so the teenagers got out in front of this truck. Now, at this point in time, this is when all these gun-toting folks have shown up looking for this monster. So they said that they came out and they were dancing by the side of the road in this truck, and the truck slows down and someone in the cab fires a rifle three times in the direction of this thing. And they realized real soon that this is a fucking problem, so they just booked it back into the woods and absolutely just fled, and he said nobody was hit, no one was hurt, but they were definitely terrified of getting shot, and they decided that it would no longer be in their best interest to be dancing around on the side of the road as this monster.
I would have to agree. Jesus Christ, though. I mean, somebody actually shot at them?
Yeah, they shot at him. Okay. And the paper doesn't say who it was that shot at him, but there was an interview at the time of the person that shot in their direction, because it was another sighting.
Yeah.
And it said that after they shot out at the monster, that it let out a, quote, an almost human-like cry. Because it's a bunch of dudes
it's a
scared
bunch of guys
shitless running away. It was an almost human-like cry.
I mean, good God, y'all.
Oh, bless it. So yeah, and what I think it's really funny, the Johnny Ray Teague and his three friends were like, I saw one, and then I went down the street and I saw a whole bunch of other big old fucking ones. Like, all right, dude. Yeah. Okay. All right, sir.
That's fabulous.
But yeah, and I think some of you might actually know this story because The Daily Show, I think it was in like 2001, 2002, shortly after that 2001 article came out in the Anniston Star, The Daily Show picked it up as like a cryptid of the week, kind of like a funny insert local news, item there, and they did a whole write-up story about the Chocoloca monster. So
that's wonderful.
If you search Chocoloca monster, Chocoloca monster, however you want to say it, if you search that, it'll come up most likely with a Daily Show clip first. So that's fun. And anyway, that's just a fun little bit of prankery from our state, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoy fun little prankeries.
You're my prankery.
Well, I'm still going to hump you like camels, apparently.
Gross.
I don't even know what that means. But
I don't either, and I don't want to find out. So can you not?
We'll find out real soon together.
I don't want to.
As a team.
I'm drunk.
Are you?
So yeah.
Oh, no.
That shot hit me. I feel it in my head. I'm not drunk, but I'm tipsy enough.
Yeah. You haven't drank in a long time, though, so... Because you've been sick and then had medicine and all that.
I haven't actually drank since probably November.
Oh, my God. Has it really been that long?
And even in November, I only had like a couple of drinks. Well, no, that one time I had a few more than that. But anyway, I've been drunk one time.
There was that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it was karaoke. Leave me alone. Anyway,
yeah. And then we got COVID, probably from the karaoke bar.
Whatever. Anyway, so are you ready for the second story? Because it's way less entertaining.
No more prankeries?
No more prankeries. Aww. In fact, we're going into the realm of true crime.
All right. I love true crime.
Yeah. So we are going to be talking about a pretty famous case, an unsolved murder. From Alabama as well.
All right.
We are going to be talking about the murder of Albert Patterson. So for this one, we're going to Phenix City, Alabama.
Okay. So, 2 Alabama stories, huh?
2 Alabama stories.
My goodness.
So Phenix City, if you don't know, is spelled Phenix because bless their hearts. That's how we spell Phoenix down here, y'all.
That's accurate. Hey, and fun fact for anyone out there who doesn't know, the Phenix City was almost Las Vegas.
We're getting there, babe.
Oh, okay. That's what we're going for?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Never mind. Y'all forget that. Scratch it. Nobody remember.
So Phenix City is in Russell County, Alabama. It's on the bank of the Chattahoochee River, and it's right across from Columbus, Georgia, where Fort Benning is. So it's right there on the border between, Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah.
In case anybody doesn't know where Phenix City is. I mean, come on.
I know, but that's because I know people from Phenix City.
Yeah, me too. I have sorority sisters from there. But, anyway, so nowadays Phenix City is it's a nice little suburban, cute city. It's cute. It's fun. There's nothing wrong with it.
Is it?
But back in the 30s, it was in fact not fun.
Yeah.
It was called, quote, the wickedest city in America by the U.S. Secretary of War at the time in 1940. And it was known as Sin City at the time because it was run by the mafia.
It sure was.
Okay. So after Prohibition ended, most of the southern states continued to also be dry. A few states allowed different counties or cities to pick, but a lot of places around here, and in the town that we are seriously in right now, it was dry until a couple of years ago. Like, you could not buy any alcohol at all, period.
The 2016 election.
Until 2016 in our town. And there are still towns and cities all throughout the South that are dry, and you can't buy in their county or their city depending on what it is. It was a dry city in our case, a dry county in others. But like I said, it was post-Prohibition, but you couldn't buy alcohol because none of the places would sell it to you. So a lot of the enterprising people down here made a lot of fucking money bootlegging and opening up little gambling areas and prostitution rings and stuff like that. And they called a lot of these groups of people the Dixie Mafia because they were just an organized crime group, but they were made up of, hillbilly southerner kind of folk.
The best kind.
Yeah, I guess. And so at the time, they were making a fuck ton of money just doing these bootlegging operations and gambling and all of that stuff. And it thrived pretty well until the Great Depression hit, and that was a problem. And it turns out that Phenix City was very ripe for the Dixie Mafia to take it over because they were in a shit ton of debt. The city was in over $1 million worth of debt, and it actually went bankrupt. And businesses were shutting down. It was a problem. It was the Great Depression, and it was bad for everybody, but like it was particularly bad for this area, and Phenix City in particular. So the crime and the corruption seemed to be a way to dig the city out of the depths of despair that they had found themselves in post Great Depression. So they agreed to legalize the sale of alcohol. They started selling beer and liquor licenses so they could tax the alcohol so they could get out of fucking debt, because everybody from all around would flood into the city to drink because it was legal there, and they could tax the shit out of it. But once they opened up that particular situation, the Dixie Mafia sort of runs in and they open for business. And Phenix City ends up realizing that they could make more money allowing these people to do unsavory things, and just, fining them for it. So they had gambling halls set up, they had prostitution rings set up, and they would fine them every time they raided them. But, the fines were just another way for them to bring in revenue, and they did nothing to stop it. They did nothing to curtail it in any way. They were just making money off the fact that these people were doing what they were going to do. Unsavory things. Yes. And by the time 1940 hits, the murder rate in Phenix City was so bad that the federal government starts realizing that this shit's a problem. And they start realizing it's a problem because of Fort Benning. So obviously World War II is starting, and there are a lot of soldiers getting stationed there at Fort Benning for various reasons. And soldiers, turns out, when they go on leave, really like to go drink and gamble and visit prostitution situations. Oh, situations. Brothels, I guess.
No, prostitution situations.
Prostitution situations.
Right.
And so it became a very popular place for soldiers to show up, but unfortunately sometimes the soldiers got stabbed or beaten or robbed or murdered.
Nah, not in Phenix City.
That was a real problem for the Defense Department, right?
Yeah.
So shot in the dark.
Oh, here we go.
During World War II, how many soldiers were actually stationed at Fort Benning?
Just, they were stationed, not how many were killed while they were there. Okay.
Stationed at Fort Benning. So was it A, 25,000, B, 50,000, or C, 100,000?
I like the sound of 100,000.
You're correct. Yeah. It was 100,000 men on base.
Would you like for me to take the shot?
No,
you
fuck
gonna
it.
Puss out?
I've got to take the headphones off first, though.
Yeah. Listen, don't be a pussy. Come get this sweet tea moonshine shot, wherever we are. I don't even know what I'm a part of at this moment. Are you standing up to do the shot? I know y'all didn't hear that, but Leah had to come get the shot, and she said, I have to get my leg back where it goes.
Oh, that's nasty.
It's not. It's so good.
It's not. Don't let him lie to you.
It's wonderful.
Oh, sweet tea's gross.
Especially if you ice it down just a little bit. Let some ice melt into it. Oh. That's why it's 10 out of 10 on ice.
That's a waste of tea and liquor. Bless it.
I don't think there's any actual tea in this.
Oh,
I think it's just made to taste like tea. Kind of bitter.
I guess, but I don't like it. Anyway, and I love tea. I love dark, bitter by itself.
Yeah.
Like tea?
Yeah.
That is not
I was about to say, you like your tea to reflect you.
Yeah.
Dark,
I want
bitter,
it to be
and
dark
by
and
itself.
bitter and just kind of seething. I don't know. Steeping.
The tea steeps while you seethe.
Exactly. Anyway.
I'm so happy.
There's a lot of information to go, and I'm a little tipsy. So if I fuck it up, I super apologize, y'all.
I'm not going to know the difference.
Well, historical tomato. It's a problem. Anyway. I don't think that made as much sense out loud as it did in my head.
Okay. I mean, I enjoyed what you said.
You got historical tomato?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Tomato.
Chocolate monster's hard to say.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, the army was a little pissed off about the whole situation in Phenix City, and it was not great. Yeah, it just, the whole area became a very, just a crime city, and once again, I apologize for that. Run by, the Dixie Mafia, and the crime leaders, the leaders of the crime syndicate there in Phenix City were two men named Hoyt Shepherd and Jimmy Matthews. And they basically did everything they could to buy everybody off. They had dirty sheriffs and cops and local officials. They had paid and greased palms everywhere to where they could do whatever they fucking wanted in Phenix City. They gave money back to the city in order to look more credible and to be the kind of people that you would just say, yeah, they do bad things, but at least they paid to build the hospital and built some local churches and that kind of thing. There was enough money flowing around that they could look the other direction, So unfortunately, it meant that most of the normal people were turning a blind eye to a lot of the crime that was going on in the town, and that whole thing brought in big time gamblers from all over the country. It brought in high rollers from Chicago and New York and just all over the place, looking to gamble and have fun in Phenix City. But there were a few people that were opposed to all of the madness that was taking place and were opposed to all of the corruption that was going on. And one of those men's name was Hugh Bentley, and he was a local businessman. I never found out what his business was, but he was a businessman of some sort.
He gambled.
No, he was like a straight-laced kind of dude. He was not there for the gambling. And he decided that he wanted to basically form a let's fix this place up kind of committee. And so he formed the Russell Betterment Association in 1950. And he got one of his friends who was a lawyer in the town.
It's Russell County. That's why it's the Russell Betterment thing.
Yes, Russell Betterment Association.
Yes.
So he had a friend who was a lawyer, and his name was Albert Patterson. And Albert Patterson had also been a state senator in 1946. And so he was a pretty prominent member of the area, and he got that guy on board because that guy was kind of opposed to crime as well. So he had actually defended that Hoyt dude, the Hoyt Shepherd. He had actually defended him in a murder trial early on, and he won it. And they tried to have him be their candidate, you know what I mean? Like he tried to really tried to grease some palms and get him to be the thing, and he was like, I don't want to be in your fucking Dixie Mafia.
Second time you said that. Have you ever had a greasy palm?
Yes, all the time.
It's so uncomfortable.
It's not fun.
I absolutely hate it.
It's not good. If you ever get bacon grease on your hand, God,
it won't come off.
It's awful. Well, Dawn dish soap is the way. It's the grease cutter anyway.
I mean, I get it, but it won't come off.
It will. You just have to put a lot of dish soap on it. A lot of it.
Well, I'm already furious.
I'm sorry. Where were we?
I don't know. Talking about greasy palms.
Local politics. Anyway. Nope. Still don't know where we are.
Anyway, local politics. Nope, that's not it.
Oh yeah, they were trying to make him their candidate, and he was just like, I don't want to be a part of your bullshit. This is not on the up and up. I've lawyered for you because I'm a lawyer and you paid me, but don't make me your dude, all right? And they're like, whatever. And anyway, so the Russell Betterment Association started holding...
The RBA. Start saying the RBA.
The RBA.
All right.
The URBA started...
If anything, that's the Reba.
The Reba.
Yeah.
No, Reba's the Reba. Don't Reba.
Oh, there's only one Reba.
Indeed. I am a big Reba McEntire fan.
Well, yeah.
It's a problem.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah. Local politics.
I know, you're right.
Look, if you ever need filler, I'll just tell the Chipper story again. We can just go back to it. Oh, God, Leah is drunk. This is Bad News Bears.
I did not like that movie.
Which one? There were a bunch of them.
The second one.
Okay.
Like the remake.
Okay, there's a remake, but there were also at least 2 originals.
I haven't seen those. I've only seen that remake.
There's the one with Walter Matthau, and then there's a second one, This Bad News Bears and Breaking Training. They go and play in the Astrodome.
No, I've only seen the one that has the dude that is... kind of looks homeless.
Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah, that one.
Good God, Lee.
Sorry. He does.
Holy shit. Oh, that's the best descriptor of Billy Bob Thornton I've ever heard. He kind of looks homeless,
like, I mean, but homeless, and he clearly has money, and he's not fucked about it, you know? Like,
you've ever said on this show.
Yeah. I'm sorry. No, I deal with homeless people on a very regular basis, and I love them very much.
They all look like Billy Bob Thornton.
No, but I mean, like, he's got the look. I'm sorry, he does.
He's got the look. He is super skinny.
Yeah.
As well, so.
And he's kind of scraggly around the edges, but anyway, like, he cut his beard, but he didn't have a mirror for it.
Good God, Leah.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
fucking shit.
Where were we? Oh, yeah, the Reba.
Local politics.
So the RBA had actually gotten some stuff done. They were holding secret meetings, basically, to try to come up with ways to clean up the town. And unfortunately, they weren't secret enough because the crime folks... kind of got wind of what they were doing.
The crime folks.
And they started targeting the people that were members of this association. So the man that started it, that Mr. Hugh Bentley, he was the first one that was targeted. And on January the 9th of 1952, they fucking planted explosives at his home. They put a fucking bomb in his house, and it exploded with his wife and children inside. Thankfully, they were far enough away from the blast that it just sort of blasted them out of the house, and they were okay. Like, some minor injuries, but like they were okay. But the bomb basically completely burned his house down and completely, just fucked it up. And of course, there was no suspect or anyone ever identified or anything like that. No arrest whatsoever in the bombing of this local businessman's house. Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of crazy. And then a few months later, part of the things that they had started doing was doing monitoring of the polls to make sure that there wasn't voter intimidation or bribery going on during...
Or fraud.
Were
they using Dominion voting systems back then?
No, I don't think there were, but a lot of this particular story does focus on voter fraud.
Shady!
Anyway, so he was actually working as a poll monitor there, and he had his son, Hugo, hanging out with him, and unfortunately, the mob showed up and beat the shit out of both of them.
Oh, no.
Like, it was bad. Like, beat the absolute fucking shit out of these two men. And just trying to intimidate them to fucking stop. And they thought that because it was such a violent outburst from these people, that the authorities would, like, realize that, hey, you can't turn a blind eye to this, and unfortunately they were incorrect, and no one was going to help, and the state wasn't going to help, because it turns out that the attorney general, whose name was Cy Garrett at the time, was totally in cahoots with the Dixie Mafia. So he was like, yeah, I'm not going to prosecute these people, fuck off.
Nah, they're fine.
Nah, they're cool. It's cool.
He came out and said, look, there's bad people on both sides of this thing.
What are you going to do?
Look, there's good people here. Let's just let them be, okay?
So eventually they're like, okay, look, fuck it. We can't get anything done here. Let's take it up the ladder. The attorney general is a douchebag. Let's let one of our guys run for Alabama attorney general. Yeah. So Mr. Patterson was a lawyer and had held, state office before. And they're like, hey, let's make him do it. So he did. He decided to run for attorney general.
Okay.
So they, had actually made some pretty good progress with the whole betterment situation. Mm-hmm. They had gotten a few local candidates into office that were not part of the mafia. And they, in fact, tried to impeach the sheriff of Russell County, whose name is Ralph Matthews. Yeah. Because he was a mobster.
Was he?
He was.
Oh, that's exciting.
And it failed because the attorney general at the time, Cy Garrett, was like, nah, he's a good old boy. I know him. He's fine.
Never meaning no harm.
Yeah, and so they just trusted him, I guess. I don't know. But it turns out, obviously, that the mob was paying the attorney general to say that shit.
Yeah.
So Albert Patterson was like, look, this douchebag is gonna, no, I'm gonna run for attorney general and we're gonna fucking win this shit.
I would love that if that was his argument. Listen, this douchebag is, alright, okay?
So he was like, this might put me at risk, I understand, but look, we're gonna get this shit cleaned up because I can't deal with it. So he runs this campaign. He's a hard worker. He has, served in World War I. He's gotten a Purple Heart. He's a lawyer. He used to teach school. He's an upstanding man in society, and he's running this whole situation. He's got a campaign. He's a good dude, and he's really rip roaring and ready to go. And people really respond to him. He was running as the man against crime, you know?
Okay.
And so, a lot of the locals were really like, yeah, man against crime. Sure, let's do this.
Yeah.
But obviously the mobsters were running a smear campaign against him, trying to do everything that they possibly could to keep him out of office, because if he was the attorney general, he could have the power to go after him,
Right.
So in May of 1954, the Democratic primary is held, and Patterson won a lot of the votes, but it ended up going to a runoff. So he was in a runoff against two other men, Lee Porter of Gadsden, I believe, was the one that was closest to him, and he was the one that was actually being paid by the mob.
Oh.
And so in June, they did the first, the returns of the runoff election were showing up finally. And it showed at the beginning that Patterson had a huge lead. And then obviously the Phenix City folks were like, oh, fuck no. And they start battering people at voting places, at polling places. They were paying people to vote for the other guy. They were stealing ballot boxes. All sorts of shenanigans that were legitimate voter fraud were going on.
Right.
And they waited for the official vote to sort of come in, and it sort of teetered back and forth between Patterson and Porter, and they were waiting and trying to get the final vote in. And eventually on June the 10th, the Democratic executives said, hey, Patterson won. But it was only by a very small percent, so it automatically went to a recount. And on the recount, in fact, he had won by about 1,000 votes. So he was declared the winner and the Democratic primary winner.
That's a good thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was no Republican challenger, so him winning that means he won the seat.
Ooh.
He is officially going to be
He was running unopposed.
He was running unopposed, yes, in the general election. So he would become the next attorney general in Alabama. So after, it was the 10th, he, was was very excited because he had won. That was great. But it turns out on June the 18th, 8 days after winning the election, he was leaving his law office in Phenix City.
Where was he going?
Home. Okay. It was 9 o'clock. Just going home.
It was 9 o'clock.
Going home.
My bad.
It was the Coulter building is what he was leaving in Phenix City, which I assume if you're from Phenix City, that means something to you.
It does not to me.
No, me neither. But he was leaving the Coulter building where his offices were, and he went to his car in a nearby parking lot, and as he went to get into his car, someone approached him and shot him in the chest 3 times, and he fell dead on the sidewalk. And he died on the spot. And he was never identified, and no one was ever arrested as the assailant in that particular attack. So after he was murdered, the governor at the time, who was Gordon Persons, said... Oh. Yeah, like
I
used
to work in that building in Montgomery, the Gordon Persons building.
They call it the Missing Persons building.
They do, because it's extremely easy to get lost in that building. Everything looks exactly the same.
It does look exactly the same.
But, it's awful.
Anyway, the Governor Persons declared martial law, and they sent the Alabama National Guard in to take over all law enforcement duties from the local authorities because clearly they were all corrupt and crazy. So they brought in special prosecutors, and they ended up convening a special grand jury that brought 734 indictments against the locals and the people from the mob.
734?
734 indictments. And they were charges against lots of police officers, sheriff's deputies, business owners, elected officials, deputies, like poll workers, like it goes all the way up to the Alabama Attorney General. And he was actually indicted for the murder of him, as well as
the Attorney General was?
Yeah. Oh. And the local circuit solicitor, Walter Jones, and Cy Garrett were both indicted for the murder of Albert Patterson. So eventually I think the chief deputy of the police department in Phenix City was sentenced to life in prison.
Good God.
One of the people that was indicted for the murder was acquitted, but the attorney general guy basically had a mental break and ended up being in the mental hospital for the rest of his life. But anyway, lots of people were moved from office, and lots of people were just completely run out of town, and they basically, because this man was murdered, ended up running the entire mob all the way out of Phenix City, and they cleaned it up into the nice little suburban town it is now.
Isn't that nice?
He did, in fact, end up getting what he was after. It just took his murder to get it done, which kind of sucks.
Sometimes you got to get murdered.
Yeah, and like I said, there is still no ID on who actually pulled the trigger on him. Obviously, you know who paid for it, but no one. It's unsolved. They didn't know who actually carried out the assassination. So, that is the story of the original Sin City.
Yeah, because like Leo was saying, gambling was a big thing. I mean, it was Las Vegas.
Yeah,
for quite a while. And
gambling, prostitution, and liquor.
All those people got ran out, and they went to Las Vegas.
Yep.
Imagine what Alabama could be, right? If people would have just shut their mouths.
So many more fountains.
Yeah, we would have had so many fountains.
Like, I love a good fountain.
Yeah, you do love a good fountain. That's your thing.
And, like, we're not even the desert. So, like, it makes more sense. Like, we've got more water to get into the fountain, you know?
We've got beach. I mean, you know how Biloxi is.
Yeah.
Imagine Gulf Shores in Alabama. Just go out there and just get in all those casinos on the beach, right?
I don't love a casino, though, so it's not my
we
thing.
don't necessarily like casinos, but Alabama would be so much better off right now. Like, this is one of the main reasons that Alabama won't institute a lottery. Because of all of the things that happened with this whole thing,
you know? corruption.
And Alabama needs a lottery more than anything. Alabama needs some fucking tax revenue.
They do, but, what are you going to do? Anyway.
Be broke and poor?
Yes. That is our MO.
Be last or next to last in literally everything?
Look, if it wasn't for Mississippi and Louisiana, we'd be on the bottom of the list of everything.
Constantly.
Whew. Anyway. Yep. All right. Well, that was the end of my story. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
That was both of my stories.
I enjoyed myself.
I'm drunk.
Yeah, you are drunk. You're a drunky McDrunkerson.
I'm sorry.
But I guess that's it then.
Yeah.
Well, you want to give us a toast?
I can.
Yeah.
I might not be able to say it all, but I'm
I believe in you 100%.
All right, everybody hoist your goblets high into the sky and let's Toasty McToasterson.
Okay.
There are certain counties where you dare not trifle. Dancing with a skull will leave you staring down a rifle. The folks of Phenix City had a crooked appellate. They fixed up the law, but still don't know how to spell it.
What, the law?
No, Phenix City. They can't spell their own goddamn name. Pisses me off every time I see it written down.
You were about to salute too, and I asked you, like, what were you saluting? What were you doing? Oh, okay, sign off. That's Leah's sign off. Still don't know how to spell it. We'll see you next time. Right? That's
how our music goes, right?
Yep, that's Leah doing the theme song. You can have that if you get on to Patreon right now. You can have Leah's rendition. Leah playing it on a kazoo.
I don't have a kazoo.
We're getting a kazoo.
Yes.
So that you can play the theme song for our patrons.
Oh, can we get a harmonica instead?
Do you know how to play the harmonica?
I mean, like 2 songs.
So no, we're not getting a harmonica.
If you don't want to hear me play Old Susanna real loud, you should not get me a harmonica.
Well, the thing is, I don't know what key our theme song is in, so we'd have to buy that specific harmonica anyway.
I only know how to play Oh Susanna and the railroad. No, I've been working on the railroad. That's it. It was in a learn how to play harmonica book when I was a kid.
And you learned 2 songs and went, master, not learning a goddamn thing else.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
I did that a lot as a child.
Got this shit figured out. Right?
Leave me alone.
Well, that's like me. When I started playing the guitar, I had a beginner guitar book, right? That had a CD with it that you played along with. And I tried it for a little while and I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure this shit out anyway. And I looked up tablature and just started learning actual songs. And I was like, okay, I figured this out. Moving on. You know, I wasn't going to do it with an actual book. That's bullshit.
My clarinet had a book and a CD, and I didn't use that either.
My clarinet had a book. It's OSCAR.
That's not how that works.
Should we sign off?
Yep.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
My lips are numb, so we need to go away.
Every time Leah gets drunk, she goes, I can't feel my lips, and I immediately touch them with my fingers and go, I can feel them.
I'm really glad that you're not close enough to me to do that because I have an overwhelming desire to bite something, and your finger would be it.
Please don't bite me. Just like across the board when we're done recording, do not bite me.
I just want to chomp something.
I'm asking you nicely to not bite. Don't do it.
No promises.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/Southern Spirits Podcast. Get us some more beer money. Send us an email, southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Send a postcard or anything else fun to P.O. Box 1743, Hartselle, Alabama 35640. Check out Leah's YouTube channel, Craftpocalypse. And I believe that's it, Leah. Did I forget anything?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we will see y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.